Hello guys, and welcome to another video. I'm very happy and very pleased today because I have another MSX computer on my desk. It's the Sanyo MPC100, and this is a fine example of the MSX1 series, and we will have the chance soon to go over some models from the MSX2 series, which were significantly better in every way. For example, they had more RAM, they had better basic and BIOS, better video display processor by Yamaha, instead of the old Texas Instruments one we could find, like MSX1 series like this one. They had a real-time clock, and they had built in at least one disk drive, which is a big deal. Now this guy delivered to me as non-functioning unit, which comes cheaper. It has a broken F1 and F6 key, I can see. Maybe we need to install a spring or something. Maybe it's broken, but for the most part it looks great. The cartridge port here, full mechanical keyboard, accurate, high quality keyboard, nothing like the membrane ones we used to have, in the European models. And of course I need to do some stuff before I can open it and start testing it. Need to change the mains plug, and put the European one on, and then hopefully we can make it work. Let's see what is inside, how it looks, how it was made, and if we can do anything to bring it up to life, because the seller told me many times that it's not working and not functioning, and kept saying this, so I'm pretty sure it doesn't, but let's see what we can do. And I will start by checking the broken key, and then change the wall mains plug. But let's first get to know this guy a little bit better. So it's a Sanyo model MPC100 out of the MSX1 series, made in Japan back in '83. Consumption is 11 watts, needs 220 to 240 in order to operate, as it has the power supply built in. And we're talking an expansion port on the back, not just an edge connector, but a real port, printer port, cassette, audio out, video out as composite as a standard, the TV modulator of course, and the power in. Again, I love these machines with the built-in power supplies instead of the external ones, which are kind of messy. Two joystick ports on the side and a reset button, very useful. The Japanese model used to have a light pen as a standard, coming along with the computer. It was placed right next to the cartridge, where there was this hidden hole, which now is just a 64K plastic tap just to cover the hole. Now the creepy thing is that I've been listening to this. Something is broken inside. Like, can you hear that? It's let's see what it is. It's maybe part of the key, or something is broken inside. So that sounds a bit creepy, but we can open it up and start checking around. MSX computers were not cheap. They were quite expensive if you tried to compare those to the British counterparts, and you can understand why, because they are quality made hardware. You can understand by the case, the looks of it, the keyboard, and of course the quality of the PCB inside, the quality of the PCB itself. A couple of connectors here for the keyboard detached, a couple of other connectors here. I don't know what this is. It looks like it goes straight to the power supply, which is on the left side. A dedicated but internal power supply. Here is the TV modulator, as a piggybacked daughter board of some sort. Here we have the Sanyo ROM chip, and there is another the space for another ROM chip on the side of that. The cartridge slot here. We have that is the NEC processor. Here, General Instruments programmable sound generator, and here down below is the Texas Instruments video display processor, the TMS9918. You might find it in three versions. Our version here is 29, so it's 1929, could be 1928, or the original design based on the 9918. This little daughter board here, I don't know what this is, probably something that has to do with the video signal they composite out. Very spacey motherboard, if I may say that. You have plenty of space to work with. I like the idea that the video chip is socketed, and yeah, well, the hobbyist, and one can do whatever he wants around this area very easily. Reset button, joystick ports on the right side, very spacey. I like that you can actually do actual work in such a spacey motherboard. I have found around several broken plastic parts like this one, where, so I guess the creepy sounds came from these little particles, these little plastic parts, and nothing more serious is happening. And those are from the case and the screw mounting drivers that we can find around the case. And I also found a lot of dirt and dust. So one more thing to do is to clean the whole PCB, especially the high voltage area on the power supply, and then around the ICs, around the sockets, and everything that I can. I also managed to find out why they made the TV modulator like this in the first place, like a daughter board on the motherboard. Because underneath the TV modulator we can find the RAM chips. And I was thinking of that, like the way we were looking at the PCB before, like from the top, there was no RAM, right? And so those are the RAM chips underneath, in a clever way designed and installed underneath the TV modulator. And the TV modulator could be optional because it looks like it's pluggable and modular. So maybe in some other version, some other part of the world, the TV modulator is not installed and the computer is only available with the composite output only. I don't know. That is some clever design if you want to save up some space on the motherboard. That's cool. And I guess the time has come for me to change the plug, the UK type of plug for the mains, with this one, replace it with this one. I found a cable, a spare, so I'm going to tie up the parts and use the European plug instead. And after this is done, I hope I can power up the system and see what happens. And to be honest, nothing happens. I took some measurements from the power supply. I could find some output like 3.1 volts, which is not enough, or 0. And there must be should be something wrong with not individual components like chips or anything, but something that comes from the power supply, or the voltage um, around the circuit, the power lines or something, I don't know. So I was trying to figure out what is going on, and I just placed a couple of connectors that have been loosely disconnected and left inside the case, and I followed this particular one that goes into the cartridge compartment and actually cuts off the power whenever the cartridge some cartridge is inserted, and that was something that was disconnected along with the keyboard and the other socket next to it. And by the time I managed to just put those two into place, I got a picture. I got a signal. So it was something that it was so simple, but the previous owner didn't know about it. So it was this particular connector, or both, that need to be into place, of course, in order to operate the right way. And the one on the right side of the PCB is the one that is connected directly to the cartridge slot up there on the case, and it can actually act as a sensor. So whenever a cartridge is inserted, like I have disconnected this now on purpose, the power is off, and if I just try to put it back like it should be since the beginning, then we have a working system. So it was that simple. It was that little connector right there which gave us all the trouble. Now that I'm feeling better, I can try to follow those two whitish cables from the power supply to the left hand side connector, which is marked as MT. I don't know what MT stands for. If somebody knows, please let me know. And so this is something that must be acting something like an instruction to the power supply in order to be turned on or off, if and only if the connector on the right hand side, which is connected with the cartridge slot and the case, is telling us that a cartridge is inserted or not. So if the cartridge is inserted, then the cartridge has the priority to start and boot the system with the cartridge instead of the ROM. So it reminds me something like the PC case that we somehow have some sensors in our modern PCs, and whenever you try to open the case, the metal case, then the PC is switched off, something like that. So a sensor, more like a switch that detects some state, and this state could be your PC case is open, or in this case a cartridge has been inserted, and so the system now has to boot in some different way. Very nice, very interesting, and very smart. I cannot remember of any other system using the cartridge port switch to cut off the power. Only the Atari 400 used to have something like this, and if I remember this right, it was also the Sword computer, the Sword M5. Used to work like that. Very interesting, very nice. So we have a working system. I'm very glad, very pleased. It was an easy fix. It was an interesting repair, some sort of. And so our MSX1 series Sanyo MPC100 works just fine, and it looks fine. It's clean now. I managed to fix also the function key that wasn't working. It was the spring inside the key was misplaced. It was an easy fix as well. So we have our system back to life. 28 kilobytes available for the user. I think it's version 1, Microsoft Basic 1983. A very good example of an MSX machine from that era in the lab today. I have always liked this idea and supported this initiative back in 83. It was the time when ASCII Corporation from Japan came together with Microsoft, and they were convinced that they can produce high quality 8-bit computers under the same logo, the MSX logo, with standard input and output interfaces, and the same language, and fully like 100% compatible to one another. So they could share the same peripherals, the same cartridges, the same hardware devices, the same programs, of course, same software, games, whatever, applications, and so on and so forth. And so now I can call it a wrap, I guess, today. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this stuff, if you like retro and computing history, just give us a thumbs up and consider subscribing. I'll be catching you soon with another video. Don't forget, there is a special dedicated playlist for the MSX machines. So yeah, I'll be catching you soon, and keep it retro. Bye for now.